We're live.
We're live? You didn't actually get it right this time, did you? Let's see here. Let me turn all this stuff down because I'm sure Will's going to call. He'd like that. Yeah, look at that. Do we actually have sound? I don't know how to function with you doing this right each time now. I'm kind of used to you taking like 20 minutes to get it going. And now you've run away. How's it going? We're live. The December live stream. We're here. And I have like no planned topics at all. Honestly, I don't know why, because I kind of had been thinking about stuff all week. It was a very busy week, but there was some excitement that happened a couple days ago. So yeah, I kind of just let myself get distracted and didn't put any real plan in place for what we were going to talk about. Oh, you forgot your earbuds, didn't you? Gotcha. You see, there are a few people watching now. Don't forget to jump into the chat, guys, and let us know you're there. And Nathan pops in right away. You might have missed part of it, me rambling that Goldie actually set it up right again. But good to see you. Yeah, like I said, busy week. Unfortunately, on the carp fishing front, when was our last carp session? That was like 5 weeks ago. It was like the second week in November, I think. It was right before Remembrance Day with our last time out for carp. But yes, yeah, something exciting did happen this week. But leading up to that, we had a few less exciting experiences. Since it kind of gotten really cold, we had a couple of snowstorms come through over the last few weeks, and the dropping temperatures have really shut the carp down in our area, our primary areas that we would go to for carp, even in this time of year, are just not producing. Everything's just kind of shut down. So all we were really left with at this point, kind of leading into the winter, is trout, which is something I've been looking forward to this year. And we did actually have 2 sessions where we hoofed it all the way down to the Niagara Whirlpool to chase some trout. The first of which just happened to fall on, was it the first session that was that storm? It was, wasn't it?
The ice storm, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Goldie and I got down there. It was a little bit of a light rain that morning. We knew that there was some nasty weather coming in, but it wasn't supposed to really come in till like after lunchtime. And lucky us, about 8 o'clock, the freezing rain started, and it was bad. I think there was probably 8 or 10 guys down there fishing that morning, and we weren't the first ones to leave, but we were very close. By about 9:30 in the morning, we had only had one bite, and I actually lost the fish, unfortunately. Felt like a good fish, but turning to Goldie saying, "Hey, quick, get the net," and him trying to get the camera going, and it wouldn't work because of the ice. Yeah, our focus wasn't properly on what we were doing, and the weather was awful, and it kind of ruined that for us. And then to make matters worse, when we finally did hike out because of all the ice, that was freezing up the reels, the rods, the line, us. Like the brim of my hat was just a layer of ice. It was awful. Oh, trying to get the dog to go to sleep.
That's all I can hear.
Yeah, the ice was just so bad that we couldn't stay. We had to get out. It was a very treacherous walk out because the stairs in that gorge in the mud just became awful. But we made it out. We got all the way up to the van, started heading home. Might have to just move her, yeah. Coco, go somewhere else. Go sleep. Normally she just goes right to sleep and snoring. But yeah, the ride home with the van in all that slushy, bad road conditions, the muffler fell off the van, just the front half. So it was like we were plowing, and that was scary. And I ended up having to cut the rest of it off. So that was a fun day. And then what was it? The very next week we went down again, and we put in more than half a day. We were there till like 1 or 2.
Yeah, it was just after 1 we left.
We fished that one pretty hard. Clint joined us for that, for his first trout session of the season. And there was a ridiculous number of anglers down there. But you counted over 30 at one point. And that was just what you could see, right? That wasn't including ones that had gone around the point and hiked further downriver. So it was insanely packed down there with anglers. What got us, though, is that it from what we could tell, nobody was catching. We didn't see anybody playing any fish. We didn't see any fish getting netted. We didn't even see people like really setting the hook at strikes, other than people that couldn't tell the difference between bottom and fish. But they were out enjoying it. It's just maybe they need to learn the water a bit better. But yeah, that entire session, probably 7 or 8 hours of fishing, and one bite. I struck into nothing. Literally, the current had stopped. I was fishing about 14 feet down along a really nice drift, but the current had stopped, and my float was literally just sitting out in front of me, and it just dropped straight down. So obviously, it was a bite. It wasn't drifting into anything. But yeah, I struck into nothing. So that day was completely uneventful, which brought us to just this past Wednesday, where it was the annual birthday session, which I was very excited about. Been planning for a few weeks. Again, we were going to try for trout, but you didn't make it. Goldie had a late night, too much partying and stuff.
No, I was busy watching MCU.
You were binge watching. So at 2:30 in the morning, I happened to wake up to let the dog out, and I have a message on my phone. I changed my mind. I'm not going. And apparently you were still up at that point. You didn't go to sleep until like 4:30 in the morning, which is just before I actually got up to leave. So I went down to the whirlpool, got down there myself, and I was to be joined by Dave Pendlebury about an hour and a half later. But when I got down there, it was gorgeous. The sun was starting to rise. It was -10 when I got there, but with absolutely no wind. So it felt incredibly comfortable. It was crisp, but it was incredibly comfortable. The water was at a decent level, given the storms that we've had lately. Clarity was down, but it was still workable. And the fish were jumping like crazy in front of me. I could see trout all over the place in front of me, but if I looked to the left of the drift or to the right of the drift, I didn't see any activity. All the fish seemed to be right in front of the spot that I had picked. So yeah, I went to it, started fishing. 2 other guys showed up fishing just down at the end of the drift from me. And all of a sudden I felt this wall of cold air come down the gorge, and I could actually start to see the snow coming towards me. And it was just as that was getting started that Dave showed up, and the water was starting to rise. So the winds that were pushing on Lake Erie were really upping the water level in the river. And it was happening fast, like incredibly fast. So by the time Dave was set up and we were both actually fishing, the water had at that point come up about 4.5 feet in depth. And we had to keep moving our gear further up the bank to get it out of the water and the waves. But the fish were there. They were active. We were excited. You're laughing because...
No, keep going. Keep going. It's nothing important.
Yeah, it was kind of freaky how optimistic we were. The fish were there. You could see, and we could see good trout, like long fish, really, really quality. I would say probably higher than the average stamp that we would normally get into down there, that we could see actively jumping. But we weren't getting any takes. The current would go right, then it would stop, and we wouldn't be able to get a drift. So I would cast a lure for a little bit. Spoons and jigs and stuff. and then the current would go left, and it just kept changing direction. So the fish could never get patterned into one specific area, right? Like if the current's going left to right, they're going to sit facing in that current and get themselves prepared to catch whatever's drifting by, and vice versa if it's going the other way. But it's got to go that certain direction for a while. As soon as it stops and it's changing direction, these fish are moving all over the place. They're never sitting still. They're never really getting onto a feed mode because of the way they normally feed in that river. So they're just kind of active everywhere. And that's why I was throwing spoons and spinners and jigs, because I was hoping maybe I could get a reaction strike from a fish that was maybe just darting around trying to get settled in somewhere. But it wasn't working. And the water continued to rise, and it went up another 3 feet, to the point where we only had a limited time. I had to be out of there by 1 o'clock. I think this is about 11:30 now. The water had come up a total of almost 7 feet, or just over 7 feet, since I had gotten there. We were standing up on rocks in this horrible snowstorm that had pushed in on us. The water clarity had stayed the same, but it was nasty. And the rocks that we were standing on helped keep us elevated, but the waves and stuff that was coming through as the water kept pushing in, at some points were going right up over our waist. So we were in some pretty deep water with that current, and probably shouldn't have been. So when we stepped back, we actually had to stand in the trees. So if you've ever been down in the gorge or fished the whirlpool, you know what I'm talking about. All that bank space that you would normally fish along was gone, and we were literally standing in the forest trying to cast and fish and run our drifts with trees on our left and right. But it was just coming up on 12 noon, and at that point, we just didn't know what to do. The currents were not settling properly, but they were definitely moving faster with the elevated water levels. So we decided to move closer to the path, closer to the trail, to head out and fish that back corner. The same spot we did my birthday session last year. We knew that there would be a little bit of an open space there. There's a big helipad there for emergency rescues. And we thought, worst case scenario with it rising, we could actually stand on the helipad and fish that drift. So we decided to kind of pack up and move over there, since we had to head in that direction to leave shortly anyways. And funny enough, just as we started walking, Dave mentioned, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be absolutely great if we walked all the way over there and smacked one before we leave? Which was funny. We were being optimistic all morning, convinced that we were going to catch. So it was great to keep that optimism going. But we got over there, and both of us promptly within our first 3 casts of running this new drift, which was running quite opposite to what it normally does in that spot because of the water levels. We both ended up snagging up on the bottom and breaking off and having to retie. So Dave was redoing his rig. He moved to the left. I kind of jumped in right beside where he was fishing, and I switched back over to the float, drifting a little minnow, a white rubber minnow. And the way the current was just being inconsistent, we just couldn't get a good consistent left to right drift. It would kind of swirl, or it would stop, and we were left with that situation of these fish aren't holding in a position. They're moving around too much. So Dave moved up the bank to the left of me to try and get into more of a drift with the way the current was kind of coming just to the edge of this bay. And I actually tucked right in the middle, and I put a long cast out right into the center of this swirling bay, and it was sitting static. It was just dead still. Dave was actually able to get a drift going. We had a couple of drifts. I think it was my 3rd drift where the current actually caught my rig and my setup and moved my float actually right to left. It was almost as if it pulled it into the swell of the flow, and it had just started to move with the current, and it just went straight down. And I was able to set into a fish, and Dave come running over to grab the net. And it was a pretty hard fight. It was a really strong fish. Fought it for a little while, but we did actually manage to get my birthday fish, a really nice rainbow trout. If you pop over to our Instagram page, I actually just posted a picture of that fish this morning. I'll post a few more over the next couple of days because Dave took some amazing photos of that fish. But he also took a couple photos of the conditions we were standing in. So I'll be posting that as well on our Instagram page. But yeah, it worked out well. Literally, that fish came out 10 minutes before we had to leave. So, kicked my birthday off to a great day. Horrible conditions that looked beautiful, but were just really rough for fishing. But I still managed to get out with a friend. Got to enjoy some fishing together. Got our birthday fish, which is now definitely going to be an annual thing. Fishing with the guys. Got back and I was kind of bummed that Goldie hadn't made it out, but he was checking in with us right early. Actually, it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock where you started to message how we were doing. But yeah, the rest of the day went well. Enjoyed it with family. So that kind of brought us to today, where we're doing our live stream. We're still trying to plan out exactly what we're doing tomorrow. We have a few hours to fish tomorrow, but I just dropped the wife off at work and came driving back along the river, and the river conditions look way better than they did on Wednesday. It's been pouring rain all day, all night and all day, and the conditions somehow look like they've improved compared to Wednesday. So we still have to do a little bit of thinking of what we're going to do. We kind of have it decided, but not 100%. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm just waiting for you to stop talking because there's like 100 questions here and you're just rambling on.
But you told me to keep talking. Tell me the story.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't bug you for
okay.
it. Because you're just going.
Fine. Give me the question.
For somebody that didn't have anything to talk about.
Well, I brought everybody up to speed with what we've been doing. What I've been doing. You suck. So what are the questions?
I want to talk about trout. Oh, the helipad. Explain the helipad down the whirlpool because not everyone fishes down there because they're not from this country.
Oh, okay. So in the gorge, in the Niagara whirlpool, there's been a lot of need for rescues. People hiking and climbing where they shouldn't be in these steep inclines, and it's very, very difficult for the fire department and the rescue people and paramedics and such to come all the way down these really, really rugged and unkept stairs. It's a long trail. I know our friend Armand has posted a video of that walk down in there. So there are videos. If you look up the Niagara Whirlpool on YouTube, you'll find videos of people who have walked in and out, and you can see what the trail is like. It's treacherous. So it's bad enough that if you get somebody injured down there, for them to try and get out, let alone us doing it when we're in good shape, but for a team of paramedics and emergency personnel to get all the way down there, they're losing time getting to the patient, and then they lose even more time getting out on top of the risk factor of injuries to themselves. So a number of years ago, the people that run the Niagara helicopters, which is a tourist service where you can actually pay to go in a helicopter and fly around over the falls, which is, neat. I don't know who paid for it, but they put in a helipad, an actual big concrete square in the most open, safe area down in the whirlpool, so that in the event of a necessary rescue, instead of emergency personnel having to walk all the way in and carry a patient out, they can contact the tourist service, the helicopters. They'll fly emergency personnel down, they can get their patient, and then they can fly everyone out safely and also save all that time. So that's what's with the helipad. Most of the time it just gets used by teenagers in the summertime having bonfires and partying, but it's very useful when the water's down where anglers can actually stand on it and fish. So that's the helipad.
Okay, so the bait you're using for trout?
The bait we were using for trout, we tried a number of things. We tried beads, which is over the last number of years has been incredibly popular. So the first session we did with the ice storm, I actually had that fish on was with a green blood dot bead. That's the fish that I lost. I find green is really good for lake trout. We used beads. I tried drifting streamer flies, and the fish that I actually got on Wednesday was on a white Angler's Choice rubber minnow, just like the one I used in the lake trout video we did last winter, but it was just white. It didn't have any sparkles or anything in it. Just like a 5-inch rubber minnow.
So Cap is disappointed that you didn't make it more interesting for the helipad, because it's a Huey with an assault team and 50 cal.
Yeah,
to go fishing with.
mine's not exciting.
No, it's not.
Well, where is it? I could take this.
Oh yeah.
I could take this and put this on the helipad, and
we can't put a 50 cal on that.
No, but I can. If we mount the camera right, it'll look like this is massive. Just have to get the angles right, so it kind of looks like it's Kappa's is better. I'm not going to use a 50 cal for fishing though.
Ask how old you are.
Who did?
With Philip.
Oh, asked how old I am. Older than you. I don't need to give my age, right?
Well, you're younger than I am.
Yeah, but you're ancient.
Yeah.
Your gigantic head just makes you look younger.
Yes, that's right. Okay, well, we're all caught up now.
Are we?
Yeah.
There's all these questions.
Well, there was, but you answered them all in your I had no idea what was going on speech.
There's more questions there. Come on. I can see question marks.
Yeah, it's asking how old you are.
No, there's a question for you from Louis.
Yeah, asking if we actually plan these things or if it's just flying by the seat of our pants.
What, the live streams?
Any of our videos.
Oh, there's sometimes a plan.
No, there is.
That gets
we say we need to shoot this, this, and this.
And then we don't.
And then we never shoot any of that. And then we go back and we're going,
Yeah, there's usually a plan, but it goes out the window before we leave the house.
Yeah.
It's usually where are we fishing? What are we fishing for? That's the plan. And then we kind of just completely wing it.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely do we go out with a very specific plan, knowing exactly what we need.
Well, we did go out with a plan.
But when we do that, we screw it up.
Yeah.
And usually the videos don't end up being shown because it just falls apart.
On the trout going down to the whirlpool, we've planned every time we went down there, we had a very specific plan to shoot, and we needed certain shots, and well, none of that happened.
No, yeah, those first two sessions this season, actually you sat beside the camera almost the entire time for that second session, hoping things would happen, and then nothing did.
Yep.
And then for the birthday session, we just didn't take the camera down.
Nope.
Because of the conditions, we just felt that everything was going to be stacked against us. So we didn't bother taking the camera. Dave and I just went down to enjoy some of our own fishing. Actually, it would have made an amazing video, the way everything looked and the way the conditions were, and the fact that we did pull a fish out in the end. Had we filmed that, I think that would have been an awesome video. It would have looked incredible with the way the weather was. But, it lives on as an amazing memory. And there's always going to be other opportunities through the winter. That's not going to be the only day we get weather like that. Yeah, usually we just fly by the seat of our pants and our pants are ripped.
Well, no, you patched them up.
No,
after you fell down the hill. Or are they still leaking?
Oh, the waders. No. Yeah, it turns out if you watch that big river carp fishing video that we put up a little while ago, where I had a bit of a tumble in my waders. It turns out that they leak now. I fixed most of the leak. It still leaks, but it's slow. Like before, I would jump in the water and that cold water would hit me right away and my foot was instantly wet. Wednesday, I didn't notice it till I actually got home and my foot was still soaked, but I never felt that cold water. So it comes in so slow that I didn't notice it. And there may be a little leak a little bit higher now that I was in the water up past the bottom of my jacket at one point. There may be a leak a little bit higher in a certain area that's tender. I got to patch that up.
Wow.
Yeah. A couple of cold walnuts.
Okay. So the coffee you're drinking, not fancy at all. He's a plain Jane.
That's not even coffee. Neither one of those are coffee.
Oh, is that your cafe mocha?
No, actually, I'm drinking hot chocolate today.
Oh.
Because I had 4 cups of coffee this morning while I was cleaning.
Well, you didn't have your foam on the top or whatever.
Yeah, they did, but
topping.
it melted, right? You can see a little bit of it in there. Yeah.
Well, I usually have the whipped topping on it.
Yes, because I'm fancy.
Okay.
That's classy.
The camera we're using right now is a Samsung Galaxy S crate.
Yeah,
No, my camera's good. It's
so
cell
yours
phone.
actually, yours is newer than
Yours
mine.
is garbage.
Mine's garbage. I have it taped up because I shattered the back the other day. The microphone, I can't talk to it like a normal phone. I have to have it on speakerphone.
And even that's starting to die on it.
Yeah, this is falling apart. I gotta get a new phone like this week.
Normally we use my Nikon D7000 and a Canon handheld camera.
Yeah, just
fancy.
a little camcorder, just basic stuff.
Where are we? Well, might as well talk about your thing there in the container.
My thing there in the container.
Yes.
Okay. Did anybody watch the recent video we did? I don't even know what we called that one. The last one we did. The last carp video we put up. Where Goldie.
Autumn fishing.
Yeah. So we were fishing with Kevin, split it up over a couple of sessions, but the goal was to fish with the homemade pop-ups we did back on that September live stream or October? October.
It's autumn. We did it November or October.
Yeah, so the October live stream, we made these pop-ups.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't paying attention to you.
I know you weren't. Yeah, so we made these. You guys helped with the colors, the flavoring, stuff like that. So we wanted to try and film a session or sessions where we went out and actually caught with these. That video has been posted if you haven't seen it, where Goldie actually did catch on these. Kevin was there, he caught, but it wasn't on these because he's stubborn and he has to use everything that he makes in his garage. But I kept trying these, unfortunately, in conditions that kept getting colder and colder, and the carp kept shutting down more and more. So I had to adapt to the conditions, and I was able to catch a few fish, but they were on bottom baits. I was using some monster carp tackle, coconut boilies that I was able to get my fish on. I had activity around these the whole time, but they just weren't taking pop-ups that day. Or days that we were out. So we mentioned in the video that we should do some kind of contest. I want a name for these pop-ups. Now, I'm pretty sure Cody K actually is the only one to have mentioned the name so far. Is he in the chat with us today?
He hasn't popped up yet.
Not yet? Okay. So Cody K had mentioned the name Sweet Tooth for these because of their, because you guys haven't seen them yourselves yet, they smell like cupcakes to me. Oh my God. It kind of smells like.
I have to get the camera to smell that.
Yeah. It's like when my grandma was cooking, whenever she was baking, you always had that hint of like maraschino cherries and cupcakes and frosting and all that stuff. Kind of like all of that into one. So I want a name for these, and I want you guys to help with that. Kappa, Cody, a bunch of you guys.
Okay, there's Cody right there.
All, oh, he's here.
Yeah.
He's just being quiet.
Yes. Actually, everyone's being quiet.
I want you guys to come up with some names for these. I'm not limiting it to one suggestion per person. Just whatever names you guys come up with. We want a good name for these. And what we're going to do is I'm going to make a whole batch to fill a pot like this. And I'm going to send it to the person who comes up with the name that we end up choosing. On top of that, I think just to make it fair and a little bit more enjoyable, we're going to narrow it down to 3 names. So the person that gets the one we pick will get a full pot of these sent out to them. The 2 runners up, maybe we'll split a pot or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But we're going to have 3 people that we send some of these out to. I'll make a batch specifically for that. So you guys get to try them as well. I don't care where in the world you are. I will make it work to get these sent out to you. So if you guys want to go into the comments section of that video, because the live streams, I can't follow things as easily. We'll see them in the chats here. That's great. But go back to that autumn carp fishing video and leave comments of the name suggestions you guys have for these pop-ups. And by the January live stream, we'll have gathered up whatever we could. We'll come up with the choices. And at that point, I'll make up a new batch and we'll get them all sent out probably by February at the latest, so that everybody has these going into the spring season. Because I know obviously spring starts different times for everybody, depending on where you are globally. So then at that point, we can get a good look at who catches on them. You know, you guys can send in your catch reports to us. We'll post them on our Instagram page. But yeah, little contest to name our pop-ups.
Okay, take a breath. Crying out loud.
What?
So, Louis, it's the flavor of it. We don't need a brand name. We already have our brand.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just the flavor for this one bait right here. Oh, there's a great question. Don't look at that.
A great question, but you don't want me to look at it.
No, we're talking about this right now. Get to that in a second.
But yeah, as far as our brand, it's just the AF brand. So, you know, if that helps you with your decision, whatever works.
Okay, so talking slower so people can understand. Last video, the autumn. Well, let me see if I can make sure. Autumn carp fishing, gone up a week ago. Put in the comments what your flavor title is for this.
Yes.
We already got some really cool ones in here.
Really?
Yeah, actually. Killer Cupcake.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Gonna catch ya.
Gonna catch you.
That's a Clint one.
That's a Clint one? Scrap it.
Niagara Special. We can't do that because you suck on Northern Special, so you'll never catch on these. You'll just catch bass on them.
But what's interesting is the first fish to come out on them was from the Niagara River.
Well, yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
It's a good suggestion.
Wow. Lots of people are listening. We're up to 14 people watching. I didn't think that we've ever had that many watch before.
Awesome.
So we got somebody watching from Peterborough. We got Germany. We got Cornwall.
Where else? Yeah. Awesome.
Well, we haven't got any more names here. So the good question because we're done with this now, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Are we fishing the 2020 Carp Cup?
Absolutely. Well,
Sort of.
I am for sure.
You are for sure.
Demir and I were actually talking about it last night. Him and I were actually coming up with a bit of a game plan already, even though the location's not been announced. We don't know what's going on yet, because we know that Fishing Canada has to move the tournament from Long Sault, Ontario, so it will not be there. But they're looking at a number of other locations to have it, because we need more space for more anglers. They want to get a lot of teams involved to help this grow as fast as we can, because the bigger the tournament is, the bigger the prizes can be. And the more recognition we can get for carp fishing here in Canada and Ontario specifically. So we're hoping that things will be announced soon, but as it stands right now, Demir and I are definitely in for 2020. I know Kevin is going to be in. Kevin, however, will need a new partner potentially.
Yes.
Because why?
I am not going to be doing it this year. My health is not ready for a 72 hours outside anymore, so I could barely do an 8-hour session right now.
Yeah. So unfortunately for your safety, basically,
well, yeah,
we have to make
well,
sure.
no, it's last year I didn't help Kevin at all because I was not feeling well. So that's when I decided that I should not fish it for my partners.
Yeah,
Maybe he has a better chance.
He can get somebody else that can
Yeah.
be more active. But you're going to try and be involved in some way.
Oh yeah, I'll be there for sure. I'll be floating around,
Maybe
doing
helping,
something.
volunteering or something.
I don't know.
But yeah, we'll figure it out. But I'm definitely in. I'm already putting together some kind of baiting strategies and stuff comparing it to how we've done over previous years. You know, the very first year before Fishing Canada took over, Demir and I were able to finish third. And then the 2 subsequent years after Fishing Canada stepped in and took the reins, Demir and I finished both years at 7th. We really want to do better. So what we're doing is we're taking what we've learned from the last 2 years or 3 years. We're going to refine our gear down more. You know, last year we went in incredible luxury. Like, we went way overboard in luxury. I had a table set up for a full kitchen. We had multiple bivvies each, so that we had one for our gear, one for sleeping and relaxing. And oh yeah, it was just, we went overboard. And I think because of how long it took to set up properly that first day, which was almost the entire day. We didn't spend enough time setting ourselves up because we didn't start catching until late that first night. We should have been catching a lot sooner. You guys had 3 or 4 fish in before we even had our gear set up.
Yes.
So Demir and I are taking a very different approach to the tournament this year. But it's as soon as we get things announced, we'll be jumping on that very quickly.
Okay. Dom asks, is there any news on the 2-rod rule?
As far as any news goes, what we do know is that the ministry did grab they collected a whole lot of information from the public. And as far as I understand, they've gotten through that information so far, but beyond that, it's now in the hands of, whatever votes they have to put in place to actually make it happen. So I don't have those details. That stuff stays behind closed doors. What we're waiting to find out is the decision made so that it can be implemented for, let's just say they say yes, right? Is it the decision set so that for the 2020 season, we can have 2 rods? Or is it something that's being pushed off as not necessarily a priority and won't come into play until 2021? That's what we're waiting to find out. I think the feedback has been strong enough that they would be stupid not to accept it. That, they really need to put that rule into place. It's beneficial for everyone. It's just a matter of when at this point, I think. That's just my personal guess. But yeah, we've had no official announcements or anything like that yet. Since Dom's there.
Well, there's 2 different Doms. Actually, there's a Dominic and then Dom Fishing UK.
Okay. Well, Dom Fishing UK actually posted a really nice pike today or the other day. I just saw the picture this morning. Does Dom think we should go fish for pike tomorrow, even though we might fail incredibly hard because we don't know how the fish are going to react in that spot? Does he think we should try for pike tomorrow? I want to know.
Okay, so can't say that. Shake and Cake.
Shake and Cake.
That's a Will one, so you're just gonna shoot that one down right now.
I think that's on the right track. I think the heart is behind that one, but it's Will trying too hard.
Hit and Hope.
Who came up with that one?
That's one of Kappa's.
Hit and Hope. I like the ring of it.
And then another one Kappa just came up with was Goldie's Floating Balls.
Goldie's Floating Balls. Maybe if the mix was Goldie's idea, sure, but he didn't really contribute to that. We can make a new set of pop-ups.
There you go.
Where you provide all the input, and then there we go. Goldie's Floating Balls. That'll be it. We'll make those ones.
Yeah.
You're looking at the weather now?
Well, Dom asked what the weather is so he can make an informed decision on what we should be doing tomorrow.
So tomorrow at what, say 7 o'clock?
7 a.m. It'll be snowing and cool.
-1, feels like -8 with the wind chill. What are we looking at?
53-kilometer-an-hour winds. Oh, Lord.
From the west. Oh, that's going to beat the crap out of that spot.
Yep.
Wait a minute, no, because there's that embankment.
Yes.
On the west, on the western slope, so it might actually go right
Stay
over
home.
us. Stay home. See, if we were in the gorge, that west wind would actually help us, but the water level will probably fly right up again.
Yeah.
And you don't have waders.
No.
I'm sure you'll wear shorts, but still, it's a little bit cold for that. We'll figure out what we're going to fish for tomorrow. Cameras are going with us tomorrow. We need to film something new. What else you got?
Nothing.
Nothing. I see people chatting.
Well, no, we're talking about different names. So you're going to have to come up with. Well, okay, I had a thought. So
you had a thought.
I did. So since it's December,
Yes.
it is the last month of this decade. what are your best memories from when you started this whole fishing video thing?
How well I've been doing
For the entire time, because it started in this decade. No, it started last decade. When did
yeah,
it start?
I initially started doing fishing videos in 95.
Well, okay. I mean, going on YouTube, not your old
Yeah.
VHS ones.
Well, we did others before that throughout the early 2000s, but yeah, like we initially, this channel started in 2014, but we were doing testing videos for about a year and a half leading up to that. So yeah, 2012, 2013 is kind of when we got started doing this.
So it was in this decade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So what's your best memory from this decade of doing these videos for YouTube?
I have to pick one memory out of this whole decade.
Well, I'm sure you'll ramble on for like an hour about 100 of them.
There's been a lot of great experiences. Yeah. Best memory doing this. That's tough, man. That's not even that fair. You gotta prep me for these. You can't leave me on the spot with something like that.
That's why I went on the spot for it, because
Wow. I gotta think about that one. That's tough because each memory has been amazing at different times. Different species, different people. You know, yeah, I can't pin it down to one. One that jumps to me right away was that when you and I first hit the secret spot a couple years ago, where we had gone out searching for our own place to fish. We carved it all out. We tried it. It wasn't working, but we were just so positive. And then we went back that next morning and got into some incredible fish. And that turned out to be probably one of the best spots we've ever fished for the remainder of that season. We had hundreds of fish out of there, topping out over 36 pounds over that first season. Massive fish. That was a great memory with that. All that hard work we put in absolutely paid off, huge in the end. Another one would be, as much as I hate to say it, a lot of it is, Will's responsible for it happening. But while we were doing 12 months of carp, that October session where we were able to go up and fish with Will in the Peterborough area, and we ended up actually getting to fish with Matt Hayes. While he was filming a project he was doing, we were filming our project, and chance where you get to meet one of your heroes, right? Like that was another standout opportunity memory.
Well, that's what I thought you were going to pick first.
Well, that's the thing. You put it on the spot, like it's
getting triples with Matt Hayes.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even a triple. It was a quadruple. Because you had a fish, I had a fish, Will had a fish, and Matt Hayes had a fish on now at the same time. Like that will never ever happen again, unless he calls me up tomorrow and says, "Hey, let's go fishing. We'll take you down to the Niagara River." There's just too many. Like they're all special in their own different way, right? Like when my son got his first real big PB, that 16-pounder that we had fishing into Lake Erie, in the snow, because he decided to go out, and we didn't even want to fish, and he got the only bite. Again, there's just been some amazing memories.
That's why I didn't give you prep time for it, is because I wanted to see your thought pattern behind this.
Yeah, I think the best thing that I can say out of the whole time we've been doing this, I think you can pretty much take the fish out of the equation, the specific fish out of the equation. It's one of the big reasons why I was doing this was I needed to fight being depressed all the time. I was doing my artwork and doing art shows a lot, and it took me away from fishing, and I was constantly just bogged down. I'd spend 16, 17 hours doing a drawing, and then go out to a show and sell 2 prints of it. That's pretty disheartening, and it took away from my time on the bank. But up until that point, I was always fishing alone. I'd go out and fish with my uncle, which was always great. But, you know, if his schedule didn't line up with mine, we just couldn't get out. Or he would invite me out, but I have a deadline where I got to get some pages done for an independent comic that I was working on. So, you know, doing this channel really helped get me in the right headspace to focus on not being down, not being depressed, not taking time away from what I really needed that makes me happy and really enjoy. So in doing that, it forced me to spend less time fishing alone. I actually was able to meet up with Italo, the host of Canadian Sport Fishing, during an appearance he was doing. And he specifically requested a link to my channel when I had done, I don't know, maybe 10 videos at that point. And the email I got back the very next morning was that it's great. You're doing great, especially since you're alone and you're doing this by yourself. It's amazing what you're putting out there. Imagine how well you could do with some help, which brought in Goldie, you know, because he was the only other person I knew of that actually knew how a camera worked, knew how to set up shots, and knew how to focus on that aspect of what we were doing. And so just taking the fish out of the equation, just the fact that this channel has given me the opportunity to fish with so many friends and make new friends and fish with some incredible people, some of which have never actually been on screen, like where they haven't even been in the videos. It's just that they've been there. You know, we've been really, really lucky that, you know, probably the best memory out of this whole experience is just as antisocial as I am, it's the people that I've actually been able to fish with through this experience that's the best part.
This is why we don't plan our videos for. It's because if I had planned this question and got him to think about it for more than like 30 seconds right there, he would have come up with this elaborate answer and not had 2 hashtags just pop up, big boys cry and fishing cures depression. This is why we don't plan our videos for, because John and I are both very spontaneous people. We can usually think really well on our feet. So when we plan out stuff,
well on our feet, we both fall on our ass constantly.
Well, that too. But with that, we were able to come up with a more organic sort of feeling video where instead of having this very scripted and very this shot and this shot and this shot and this shot, it's very organic. And that's probably why the videos do so well. And we also got the same from Matt Hayes about how he enjoyed how the feel of the videos.
Yeah, there's one thing he said for sure, is that you can see why it appeals to people. One thing he specifically said, and it wasn't intended to be insulting or anything. He said, "You're never going to cater to the elite, those elite, pristine, you know, hardcore. This is how it's got to be carpers." He says you're going to appeal to the more the big audience. You're going to appeal to more people who are just like the everyday people that go out, because you're showing them what it's like for them to go out. You know, they can go out to some of those same spots and have the same experience. You're not, you know, you're showing when you screw up. You're showing like when, because he had watched that video of it took you like 7 tries to get a cast out, and he was laughing while he was reliving that moment with us. You know, it's just something that it's hard to explain, but yeah, like it has to be natural. It has to be real. We don't want to just show you, oh yeah, we go out and catch. We have videos on this channel where we blank. Another part of that, it's not just in the making of the video when we're out fishing that we try to keep as natural as possible. I know some channels out there that they have that professional mentality, and that's great. I love watching those videos. But if it takes you 2 months to edit a 20-minute video, maybe you're losing some of that natural and organic feel out of it. Generally speaking, we film a video. The kind of pattern we have now is he puts it into a program, all the footage into a program. I do a quick rough edit that quite often takes less than an hour. Turn it over to him, and he does a tighter edit with a different program. Just because he's more skilled with that program, I stick with one that I've actually was trained in, because I find it hard to take the time to learn the new program. So he'll do a second cut, which is more refined. He'll add in graphics, adjust the sound levels, things like that. generally speaking, overall, it's pretty much one day to edit whatever videos we do. And that's going from like a 5-minute video right up to some of our videos that are over 2 hours. It's really only about a day's worth of actual editing that's done, with one exception. There was the Shimano Canada Carp Cup, the very first Canada Carp Cup. That was months and months and months of editing, but that was, how many gigs of footage was that?
Oh, that was what?
You had like 18 hours of footage or something.
Yeah,
like
18 hours or something like that. Yeah.
And I wasn't involved with the rough cut of that because that was a Goldie project. He took it on and put his brain through the shredder on that one to get it done. But
it took almost a month to put together.
More than that, because, well, you had one about a month at one point where we didn't even see you.
Yeah.
You just locked yourself in your room doing all the graphics and
Yeah.
stuff. Basically, it was filmed in May and the video didn't go out till that following December, because you were working on it on and off through the whole thing amongst the rest of our videos through that channel. So yeah, we have to keep it organic, have to keep it natural. To try and plan it out any other way just doesn't seem right. We want it to be as real as possible.
Well, okay, starting from the top here, Cody K says that's why he watches us, because we're in that 20% of people that aren't scripted.
Oh. Okay, I can't do a thumbs up properly.
Well, yeah, maybe she.
Whatever. Sorry, I think I broke my thumb yesterday. You can't see how purple it is, but if I stretch it up too much to do a.
So, NK Cutler
Nathan
flips it on us and says, if it was scripted, I wouldn't stare at the camera for 5 minutes and you wouldn't be just wandering around in our videos.
It's true.
Dom wants us to get the Eagle video going.
They're not here yet, Dom.
Yeah, that's the spring thing. That's when they're coming back.
Well, it's that we haven't had the really harsh cold weather that really draws them to the river. So they might be in the area, but they're not like. If you go down to the river right now, you've got about 30 different species of seagulls, and all the birders are down there. We've got a lot of the winter ducks that are just starting to show up. The swans haven't shown up. The eagles follow these other bird migrations. So we need another month. Then maybe the eagles will be around.
And Kappa's like, if we didn't have these live streams, you wouldn't be able to see how idiotic we really are.
You have no idea. You wouldn't believe the restraint that we're showing right now.
The amount of footage that has dropped on the floor through our edits, just because it's just so bizarre and so just crazy.
And we're not taking it out to just not show you. Stuff like that comes out because it takes away from the flow of the video. Obviously, with the videos, we want there to be a certain point and a certain flow where yes, it's natural. This is how it's happening. But there are times where we just sit there rambling for a half an hour and the camera happens to be going. And some of the stuff that said we definitely can't put out there.
Yeah, there's some people that would get offended by what we say.
I can be very, very vulgar at times. But it's just one of those things where there's certain things and certain activities that might happen on the bank, throwing bait at each other and whatnot, where it would actually take away from the flow of the rest of the video. And that's the only reason that stuff comes out. I keep telling Goldie, put together a bunch of this stuff and make a blooper
That's what
video.
Cody wants. He wants the blooper video.
The problem is with all the footage going back, where some of the best bloopers have happened of us falling and whatnot. I don't even know if we have all that footage anymore because some of those hard drives.
We have it all.
But it's going to
for this year.
It'll take you 2 years to go through.
Well, let's see. During the spring, how many sessions did we do that there's video footage of and it's just sitting there and never saw the light of day? Well, because we did the 16-mile trip and we got to 3 times.
Yeah, and we were at the secret spot a couple times. Yeah, we had like 6 sessions where we didn't just not catch. We didn't even get a bite. In some cases, we didn't even see fish. But those aren't bloopers.
Well, there were some good bloopers in there. And Kappa, I can't do nudity because we lose subscribers when that happens.
Why is he saying for you to be nude?
It's semi-nude.
Okay, so we did a live stream, actually December of last year.
Yeah. Where
you stripped down for Dom, because Dom likes your sexy legs. Just so you know, he is wearing shorts right now. Yeah, your Homer Simpson underpants down at the whirlpool fishing for trout. And we literally, within 20 minutes of that going live, we lost 3 subscribers.
3 subscribers.
And then 2 more later that week. So Goldie will stay covered for now.
And a scarf on and a toque.
And boots.
And boots.
And underpants.
And underpants.
End of the year blooper reel video.
Yes. I already said that.
Yeah, we already have a schedule for the rest of this season, like for the rest of this year with what videos we have ready, but don't let go of the idea. I have been pushing and pushing for the last 2 years for him to put together a blooper video. The problem is it's going to take up so much of his time. You know, he's got to go back through a lot of footage to find those clips. And then there's going to be clips where we might not even necessarily remember that they happened, you know, where you might stumble across them. So it's a lot of footage to go through to make that, but I want a blooper video.
Uh-huh.
We need to take Clint out again, just push him. That'll be a blooper video. So what have we got?
Wow, yeah. Raccoon hat, not going to happen.
Raccoon
Mankini maybe, but not a raccoon hat.
Is Will still in there? Is Will still following along?
Yeah.
Will, I'm just going to take this opportunity to say it. The footage that you shot in October with your homemade bait, it was kind of your year-in review. We can't find the footage. I might need you to send me a link directly for that because we want to get that put together so we can get that up for you. Just so you guys have a heads up, we'll put together a video with his own homemade bait and kind of recapping how his season went because it was a tough season this year. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that because I teased him the entire time he made that bait and then he went out and he caught on it and I haven't caught on my homemade ones. So yeah, Will, if you could please get that to
yeah, get my life together.
Stop sending it to Goldie. Send it to me. Because yeah, for some reason we just can't find the footage and we need to put that together for you because it doesn't come out next week, although it might. We have three videos, 2 of which I think are quick clips to cover the next 3 weeks. So basically take us to the end of the month. That's why we need to get our butts out there tomorrow and try and get some more footage. He said he's typing in caps, so I think he's yelling in his typical Peterborough voice. You said the scenic shots weren't long enough, remember? I thought we were mentioning that about like overall videos, not this specific one. So now it sounds like you actually saw the footage.
I have to go through my life again and see where I am.
Okay, send me the link, Will. That way I can send it directly to him and he can't screw it up.
You want to bet?
On purpose.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now Will's getting attention. That wasn't the point of that conversation. Oh, Clint says, okay, let's do it. So I do get to push him. Yeah. Hey, Clint, go to the flea market tomorrow. Get yourself a trout rod. Because you need a proper trout rod. I admit it was awesome watching you try and fish with a 9-foot carp rod for trout.
Are you going to say the brand of it?
The Monster Carp rod?
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, get yourself a 10-footer, a little bit lighter action. Get down there, do it. Otherwise, I'll try and bring an extra for you for the next time we're out for trout. Just so you can get a feel for it. But yeah, get down there if you got the chance tomorrow and grab one. We might see you there because we might be there buying toys.
Yes, Kappa, my phone is overheating. That's why it's lagging for.
Wow. It hasn't done that for us before. Is it because the lamp is right there?
I don't know. I think my phone's getting too old for this.
Probably. We got to get a better setup anyway.
We need to get a benefactor that will give us boatloads of money so we can upgrade everything.
Like Will. Will, give us boatloads of money so we can do better
I was going to
videos.
say, Will doesn't have a lot of money.
He says that. Sent it to the Anglophiles email. Does he even know my email? Okay, this never happens where I get like an up-to-date email right away, but I just noticed a new name in the chat, somebody who knows Will, and it just said that he just subscribed.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah, right
Okay.
there.
Yeah, there's Will's email. It's actually in a folder labeled that. You're saying you couldn't find that? Okay, I will forward that on to you later.
Okay. Dom has a challenge for us now.
A challenge.
So
Bring it.
next year, when all the ice disappears, we
Okay.
should go carp fishing with our ice fishing rods.
Okay. I've done that. I've done that.
Yeah, but you don't have video footage of it, do you?
No, because it was almost 30 years ago. Get out of there. Ow. Sharp hooks. Okay. So my ice fishing rods are all hidden in there. So this, it's not a name brand rod. This is an ice fishing rod I bought for pike and lake trout when I was 11 or 12. I have landed carp to just under 20 pounds with this ice fishing rod. And I'll explain the circumstances behind that. It doesn't have a great bend to it, so I gotta use heavier line. That was close.
Consider I wasn't paying attention and I could only see it in the video.
So yeah. Okay. I do know somebody who ice fishes for carp. Some of the guys in Quebec do. They've had some good success with that. I'm not willing to do that. I don't like the idea of ice fishing for carp. I have my own reasons for it. I won't go into detail on it. I'm not going to knock the guys who do it. I've decided not to. So when the ice is out, I definitely can do this. The circumstances behind having done this already, when I was a teenager, wasn't the best behaved teenager. I used to get myself into some trouble, and I would frequently find myself grounded. My mother would take away my fishing gear because she knew that that was what I loved most. So it was, I wasn't allowed to go fishing, took away my fishing gear, and I had to focus on schoolwork and such, especially through the summer, which was a pain in the back end. But what my mother always often missed when she took away all my fishing gear was this ice fishing rod. Because quite often it was so small she didn't see it. It was tucked in the closet behind the other rods. But because I always had like bags of tackle and stuff and other things piled up in front of it, piles of dirty clothes because I was a teenager, this rod was often hidden. So what I used to do is during the summer months, not allowed to go out and do anything, my mother would go to work. I would tape this to the crossbar of my mountain bike, throw the reel in my pocket with a little container, like a container like this, with some hooks and some split shots, and some corn out of the fridge from like the night before's leftovers. And I would ride my bike down to the creek, funny enough, which is, at the time I was living like literally 2 houses away from where Kevin lives now. And I ride over to the creek just directly across from where we are now, about 2 blocks from here. And I would put this together, cast this out, and I would fish for carp. And I've landed some really good low to mid double fish. I'm just under that 20-pound mark with this. It's a really good, tough rod. So ice fishing equipment for carp. What I need to do at this point is make sure I can do it for fish safety, because back then that was before I knew anything about fish care or fish safety. But we'll make this work. Challenge accepted. I suppose I just had to say yes, I'll do it. But I have the gear. We can do this.
Okay, so are we done with the thoughts? Because the video is getting very laggy for some bizarre reason.
Oh crap! How long have we been going?
Just over an hour.
Okay, so we're going to be wrapping it up soon, anyways. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank now. I've accepted that challenge. What else they got?
That was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, what was that, Wilson? 6 foot Sonops. No, 25-inch ice rods. Well, yeah, if it's getting laggy, we might as well get this all wrapped up. I wish we could keep going because apparently I have more stuff to say despite the fact that I had nothing to say. Damn. I was kind of having fun, but yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for keeping the chat going. Really appreciate the new names in there, new faces. Thanks for subscribing. Glad you guys could pop in with us. Oh, great. Will's going to call me shortly. I have to go out. But yeah, January's live stream, we will go over the name of these pop-ups that we choose. Thank you for throwing the names in here. Please go over to the autumn carp fishing video. Leave them in the comments there. Show the video to your friends. Show them the October live stream of us making these so that they can get an informed decision on what we put into it. Have them throw the comments in there. Share this around so that people know that they have a chance to win some homemade pop-ups from us. And is Ray in there now? Ray joins in at the end.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, Ray, we're going to be shutting this down in a minute because the camera's overheating and lagging. But Ray is a fellow Urban Carp Collective rep. So also don't forget to pop over. I'll throw the shameless plug in now. Pop over to the Urban Carp Collective web shop. They've just got a new restock of some of the mascot hoodies. And I believe these new jungle camo hoodies, I think these are coming out for public sale very soon, or at least pre-order soon. But yeah, they just got kind of resupplied just before Christmas, so pop over and grab some of that stuff. Anything else before we
everyone's saying
shut her down? Will said toodles. Okay, everybody tease Will for saying toodles. Ray saying evening. It's
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We just finished lunch. But yeah, Ray, second Saturday of every month we do our live stream. I'd love to see you chime in for the January one.
Did we ever explain why we do this?
I don't even know why we do this.
Well, it's because I need a week off from editing.
Oh.
And I don't have to edit this. It just goes live, so I don't have to do anything for it except for coming up with a description for it and a name.
Basically, I think we do this so that we don't have to come up with 4 videos a month. We can just come up with 3.
Yeah.
And because the schedule is so tight, we always have a Saturday afternoon where we can just sit here. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And you also want to see how likely I am to swear and not restrain myself, which I'm doing better at.
Yeah. Yes, Clint, he's coming out of the closet now.
Oh my God. So, Ray's actually in Holland. For some reason, Ray, I didn't actually know where you were based on your pictures. But what we need to do is we need to get Jan here on a Saturday for a live stream.
Oh,
have Ray chime in there, and they can talk in Dutch on the chat, and I'll speak in English, and they can make fun of me, and I won't know about it, and it'll be awesome, right?
Yep, just like every other time.
All right, guys, we're shutting down. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Get those comments in the autumn carp fishing videos comment section. Name those pop-ups. We will announce the winner and make those pop-ups and get them sent out to you in January's live stream. I'll see you then. Thanks for following.